We are. Okay. Well, hello. Um,
Hello.
hello from Andrea and Nicole. And maybe this is the first time you're seeing both of us together in here. It's probably the first time you're seeing me in here in quite a while.
You've
But
been
we
very
have
busy, Nicole. You've
I've
been
been
very
very busy.
busy.
I've been on a world tour of speaking events, kind of like somebody else I know. Andrea's on a world tour, literally, of speaking events. So,
Okay.
the good news is we found some time to be here today to hang out with all of you because
We want to help you get better.
we want to help you have more influence. We want to share a little bit of what we love so much about the work of exactly what to say. We know some of you are really excited about it and have been really excited about it for years, and some of you have never heard of it. So we thought, well, we've got something really cool coming up in August. And leading up to that, we're going to be in here once a week and we're going to be sharing some of the things that we love the most about the work of exactly what to say. If you have not heard of it yet, this is the little book. It's written by a man named Phil Jones. He is our mentor. Maybe we should take a minute and introduce ourselves as well,
Sure.
because it is new for some of the people that are in here. Um, why are two ladies talking about exactly what to say and what the heck is this all about? So you probably know me because you're in here and this is my Facebook group. And if you don't, I'm Nicole Kramer. I am a sales coach, a keynote speaker, and an exactly what to say certified guide, which is why we're here right now doing what we're doing. And Andrea and I each have our own sales coaching, business coaching businesses, and also love the work of exactly what to say so much that we train on that together and have a lot of fun doing it. So we're here to share a little bit with you tonight on one of the phrases that we love the most. And I'm going to let Andrea introduce herself so you get to know her too.
Sure. My name is Andrea Daniels. I am the owner of Rookie to Rainmaker, which is a company based on lead generation, lead conversion. We help people double their conversion and close more deals without sales tactics or scripts. And that's why I love the exactly what to say material as well, because it's relationship-based sales, not punchy scripts and salesy gross tactics. I also am a speaker. I pray for the day where I can introduce Nicole. I can be her introductory speaker. She has great stories. That is more her path than mine. I speak when I'm asked to because it's great content. So, Nicole, Miss Kramer, Professor Kramer, you can take it away. One of my favorite phrases is, "I'm not sure if it's for you, but," definitely one of my favorite phrases because it is very rejection free.
And that's the whole benefit to it. So what Andrea and I committed to over the next like 8 to 9 weeks before we run our next exactly what to say program is to share with you what we love about the work, give you some actionable things that you can go start playing around with and applying, because this isn't just about doing this work in your business. That's what I think is so amazing about it. And like Andrea said, this is really work that helps you feel less slimy and less salesy, because that's not what this is supposed to feel like, because we're really helping people. But one of the reasons people feel slimy or salesy is they fear rejection and they fear that people are going to have some kind of, reaction to them wanting to offer them something. So as Andrea said, this phrase is rejection free, which I think is really cool because that is one of the biggest things that holds people back. And it's one of the first phrases that I learned because it's the very first phrase in the book. So this little book is one that I found back in 2017, very shortly after it came out. Many of you have probably heard of How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I had just reread that book, and Audible was like, if you like that book, you might want to check out this little book called Exactly What to Say. And Andrea, I'm sure you've heard this because I have multiple times. There are times where Phil, the author of it, has been referred to as like the modern day Dale Carnegie. So if you've read How to Win Friends and Influence People and you've never heard of Exactly What to Say, that would be a great opportunity. And like I said, it was the very first phrase. I'm not sure if it's for you, but because it's the first phrase in the book. And I just like that it immediately allows you to introduce something to somebody, but they can't reject you. Andrea, why can't they reject you?
They can't reject you because of that two things, that little word but and the power of speaking to their subconscious. So if I say, Nicole, I'm not sure if it's for you, but what do you think about getting a third dog? She has the choice about,
I tell you, I have to get a second before I can get a third.
yes, well, I was thinking collectively. Nicole and I both have
Oh
dogs.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
that, what do you think about getting a cat, getting your dog Cassie a little sister
Mhm.
or brother, right? Nicole is going to have the option to decide in her subconscious if it is for her or not. So Nicole's little voice in her head, and don't think that you don't have a little voice in your head because you do. Nicole's little voice in her head will be like, I'll let you know if that's for me or not. So the reason that it's rejection free is you're saying, I don't know if it's for you. The little voice in Nicole's head says, well, I'll be the judge of that. And then after that is the but, is which is whatever your suggestion. So I would like it more as a rejection free takeaway. Hey, I'm gonna give it to you. If you don't want it, it's okay. It was conditional anyway, I'll take it back. So I'm not sure if it's for you, but is one of the phrases that's called rejection free because you're saying, hey, I don't know if it is for you. If not, that's cool too. And you're not really tied to that outcome of that. Nicole, would that be your version of it? And what I love about this is there's over 30 guides and we all have different perceptions or perspectives, there we go, of the work. There are role play cards. And there's two sets of role play cards actually. There's one for realtors and then one for non-realtors, depending who's in the group. So there are two different versions of them,
Well, the reason
right?
I brought this up is I was just
Okay.
going to tell everybody that we have something coming up that I think would be really fun for them if they start to hear us talking about the phrases and they are like, oh, this sounds cool. Let me learn more about this. Andrea and I have two complimentary role play sessions coming up in June. We'll drop the links to those in the chat. Would love for you to join us because this phrase, I'm not sure if it's for you, but this is the one we're talking about right now. There are 31 of these. And Andrea is like the queen of role play. She's done role play for years now with mainly with a lot of real estate agents. But what I love about it, because you guys know me, I've been a sales coach in here for a while. I think role play is the answer to so many people's challenges with sales, because not only does it give you more skills, right? You're building skills. It gives you such a confidence level when you've done it and said it before versus it being the first time that you're saying it in front of the actual real person that you're saying it in front of. Like that's daunting. And it's really hard to think of something in the moment because what do we always say, Andrea?
The worst time to think about what you're going to say is in the moment that you're going to say it.
So we are excited about having a couple of complimentary role play sessions. I don't know if I can get to the comments right now, but I will put them in there when I can. Oh,
I
here
can
we
put
go.
them in the comments if you want, Nicole, for you.
There's that one. And there's, oh, I should have put what dates they were for. I didn't do a very good job there, but anyways. So like I said, Andrea and I wanted to come on and introduce ourselves to you, give you a couple of opportunities to jump in and do some role play with us over the next few weeks. And really just get a little bit of a background here with understanding what do we love the most about exactly what to say. Every week, we're going to be sharing with you a little bit more about maybe a phrase that we'll cover that week, maybe some of the methodology, because like Andrea said, it is a different way of looking at sales. I think that maybe that's something important to cover too. Why phrases like, I'm not sure if it's for you, but are so popular within this methodology, because we're not looking to just get into conversations and close deals. I know that's weird. Let me take a step back. Wait, what do you mean? Yeah, we're here to learn how to close deals. Yes, we are, but that's not the point of getting in the conversation. Andrea, you have something that I like when you say it around this. It's not about closing deals.
It's about closing the gap with the information that your client needs to make a decision. And our goal is to understand our client before we make a recommendation for our client and to get closer in relationship. So yes, yes, not just about closing deals, it's about closing the gap with the information that your client needs to make a decision, and closing the gap in our relationships. Because when you're in a relationship with people, it's easier for an ask because you felt like you've spent the time to build the relationship. Nicole, I'm giggling because of Pilates. Um,
The saga
I couldn't.
continues.
It's like it's easier, to persuade someone or influence someone you're in a relationship, except when it comes to Pilates.
Not Pilates. Under any circumstances, should you ever influence someone with Pilates? I just love that it keeps visiting. If you've ever heard Andrea or I speak, which some of you may have that are in this audience, we each have our own version of a story about Pilates and CrossFit. And it's a true story. And it's a true conversation between Andrea and I. And one of the reasons we're both laughing is obviously it's now become very funny that we both share it from stage. The reason it's so valuable is what a lot of people do is they become, well, they try to get married on the first date and they become an advice monster. They start trying to tell people what to do. Again, if I were to go back to the phrase that we're talking about today, I'm not sure if it's for you, but the cool thing about that is it allows you to introduce something to somebody or flirt an idea with somebody instead of just telling people how good your product is or tell them the things that you think that they need to hear or tell them what to do. It's like nobody wants an advice monster. And that was me in the conversation about Pilates and CrossFit. I was the advice monster because I told Andrea she needed to do Pilates. And I still stand by it.
Well, the good news is, Nicole, I am trying Pilates with my original CrossFit partner. In application, just one application, one small one here today, Miss Kramer. It's if Miss Kramer would have said, Andrea, I know you said you want to get better, get back into working out, and you're considering CrossFit. I don't know if it's for you, but I've seen a lot of results with Pilates if you want to give it a try. And knowing that Nicole got a scholarship to college for athletics and academics, she's very competitive. We have that competitive nature um, as something that we align with. I might have been like, well, if Nicole played basketball in college and got a scholarship, I mean, Pilates might be good enough for me. And, she's fit. Maybe I should try it. But instead,
or I could have said, what's most important to you about getting back in shape? And if you were like, I want to get my arms toned, I would have been like, I'm not sure if it's for you, but one of the fastest ways I ever toned my arms was going to Pilates. How open-minded would you be to going with me sometime?
that's even better. Look at Nicole, one upper. I like it. That's
Well,
good.
I think it's always helpful to remember that, like, again, nobody wants to be told what to do, but people do want to be told what to do. So in that moment, I could have found out what was important to you. This is like such a perfect demonstration of the work that Andrea and I teach and we speak, about from stages, because this is what all of our clients want, right? They want to know how to articulate their value more in conversations. And what I just demonstrated between the conversation with Andrea and I is finding out what's important to the person. I don't know if it was her arms or not. I just made up an example of, what would be important to her, but she does have toned arms. Check them out, everybody. She's been doing a lot of working out. I noticed her arms the other day. I was like, look at you, muscles.
I've been doing Pilates.
Yeah, she's been doing a lot of Pilates. She took my recommendation. It does work. It does work for toned arms and toned a lot of things. But you find out what's important, right? Like, well, what's important to you about getting back in shape? Well, my toned arms. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure if it's for you. And you might not make the jump that quickly. I was just demonstrating the phrase that we're talking about. But hey, I'm not sure if it's for you. But one of the fastest ways I toned my arms was by going to Pilates. You want to go?
Yeah.
And either way, however much longer you kind of like pull out the conversation, right, is what's really important is finding out what's important to them and basing anything you say on that.
Yeah.
And most people are coming in trying to make their shit look good and trying to convince the other person of why their stuff is so good, which is what I was doing in that car ride conversation. I was like, Pilates is this, Pilates is this, Pilates is this, Pilates is this, CrossFit, you're going to get hurt. And I have no issue at all with CrossFit. So nobody come at me about CrossFit. I'm not mad about it. I just in that moment felt like Andrea needed to go to Pilates, and I told her as much.
Well, the good news is it is on my calendar for the next week or two. Something that Nicole and I talked about before we are hopping on today is we were talking about the what and the when and the why. And if we talk about
the what and why.
So when we talk about what, the reason most people don't go for the ask is because they're afraid of being rejected or someone saying no. So when I look at the what is it? To me, it's we're flirting with the idea of a close. It's not a hard close, it's not a direct close. It's a softer approach. So when I say what, I would use it re-engaging in a past nurturing conversation. I would use it at the beginning of a conversation. I would use it at the end of a conversation. And especially if you're in this group and you're like, you know what? I just feel like I don't want to be pushy because I don't like when people are pushy with me. This is a good phrase if you're a little bit of a, not softer, but if maybe a softer closer and you're not just a real direct person and you're trying, you're trying some parts of your sales conversations out for the first time, or even if you're experienced, it's a really cool phrase to try. And I'd even encourage you to try it after watching Nicole and I tonight. Go ahead, Nicole.
Well, that would be my thing. Like, if you watch us and you got this far, go use the phrase. I'm not sure if it's for you, but, and my what and my why would be what? It's a tool to start a conversation. And I can tell you all right now, there is nothing in this world that you need more than the ability to have a conversation human to human, because there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of automation out there, and all of those are great tools. But at the end of the day, you know who's going to win out and what's going to win out? Your ability to have conversations. So this phrase is a tool to have to start a conversation without rejection. It allows you to introduce anything to anybody, right? And the why, well, let's get clear on what your reason is for starting conversations. What's important to you about the work that you do? And if it's not around work that you do, if this isn't to help you have more influence, then what's important to you about your relationships? Who do you want to communicate better with in your world? Make that your why. Either way, make sure that you are approaching this as a tool for starting conversations that allows you to bring something up rejection free and move that conversation forward into progress. I absolutely want, here's what I would love to see in the comments. If you have used this phrase before, give us an example of how you've used it. If you have not, tell us where you're going to go use it. I think some just matter of fact intentionality around, hey, I just listened to these two ladies talk for the last 15 minutes. They gave me some really valuable stuff. I'm going to go apply it, and here's where I'm going to use it. Or go use it and come back and put it in the comments and tell us where you used it and how it went.
We love to see these words in motion and practice, successes, and all application. I'm going to say all application.
And then get signed up for June 11th and June 24th. Those are our complimentary role plays. If you would like to know details about our August class, then just either comment early bird or reach out to one of us via Facebook Messenger and just say, I want to know about the early bird. And you could go on a 4-month adventure with us, learning the language of influence.
I promise it'll be a lot of fun.
Of course it will be. Friggin' crack, leading the way. All right, everybody, we will see you next Monday. Also, if you want, if there's anything specific that you want us to talk about with regards to influence, sales, exactly what to say, put it in the comments and fit to what we share next week. All right, see you all soon.